Howdy guys, it's Luke at Luke's APS, and in this video we're going to do another one-day build, aren't we, Ollie?
Mm-hmm.
Whoop! Right, this is going to be a wargaming table for Broadsword Wargaming.
That's it.
He's setting up a YouTube channel very shortly. Going to be loads of battle reports and stuff, and he needs a lot of different boards. So this is going to be one of many. It's going to be a modular gaming table that's generic-esque. So obviously it's going to want to play bot action, fantasy games and stuff like that on it. The reason we're filming this is one, it's a one-day build at home. The second one is it's modular. Not done a modular gaming table yet. So let's get the camera rolling. And what do you want to say?
Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But yes, catch you in a bit.
Right, so the boards that Oliver made was 2x4 sections. There was a bit overkill, a bit heavy, 12mm MDF with 1-inch battening all the way around, but for what he needs, they're perfect. We're just sizing up what we want to do. We're building quite a big mountainous board, so we're using some cheap polystyrene to build up and using the razor saw to cut them. And now to glue them in place, what we're using is Luke's APS fast dry basing glue and cocktail sticks from main support. In about 10-15 minutes that'll be all dry and all in place.
Right, so what we've decided is we're gonna have a hill here. Well, I say hill, it's gonna be like all modulated rocky plains, and it's gonna be the same on the other side. So we're gonna have all rocky plains either side. Now, what's good about that is we can flip both boards around and have like a 4x4 hilly table with like an objective on the middle. You could have it like a big hill with a flat section on one side if you wanted. So it's great for multiple use. There's plenty of opportunity for building quick boards. But anyway, let's get back to sticking this stuff down and hitting him over the head with a polystyrene. Yeah. Again.
Right, so all we're doing now is just cutting into the foam and making rough shapes. We're doing nothing major at this point because with how I build tables, you don't have to put that much attention into the foam. It's just a matter about getting the rough shapes, and the rough shapes will tell you where you need to put the rock molds and everything else. So as you can see here, you can sort of see how it's roughly going to look. We're going to put the rock molds on and we're going to shape the landform with setting it afire and stuff in a second, which will give it more of a natural form. Bang the rock molds on, bang the compound on, and then you start to get a really nice looking natural finish. So for burning it, after the last one-day build, I had a lot of people asking me to show me them burning the polystyrene to see what I did, because obviously I took it outside, I didn't film. So this is it. I'm just literally taking all the rough edges off, and what this does is it makes the polystyrene a lot harder. It gets rid of all that really rough, bobbly stuff. Not that it really matters, because we're going to be using modelling compound over the top of it anyway, but it just rounds everything off a bit and gives you just a lot firmer body to work on. So yeah, that's why I mainly do it. And one, if you are wanting to just put some nice natural landform in, it does it without you having to sand it in or cut bits out, and it gives you a lot more natural finish because it's not you thinking about it as such. You just, even if you have an accident, it puts a big hole in it somewhere, just leave it. You can work with it later, and that's how you can generate nice natural landforms. So once you've burnt it, it'll look something like that. It just rounds and smooths it all off. So yeah, that's why I burn it, and that's how I burn it for all those that was asking. Woodland SCENIC's rock molds are what I use just to put in place. As you can see, where it's burnt and where I've left pretty flat, that's where we're going to be sticking them. Make them fit and try and fit them pretty straight up, and that's why they'll look the best. We'll glue them in a second.
Right, so we've got the rock molds cast up, we've stuck a load of rock molds on, and we're going to be moving on to compound next, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Add a bit of weight to the board.
Yeah, add a little bit of weight. But what a stupid idea to build 3 chuffing massive mountains. Your fault.
Good idea.
It's your
At the
fault.
time. It's the tallest.
I'm running out of plaster.
Yeah. But it's the tallest board I've ever seen.
But I'll show you around it and see what you think, because this is just going to be It's like 5-inch tall. It's huge. Anyway, in a bit.
Yes, the initial idea of this board was just to build 3 pretty flat boards with a couple of modulating hills on either side. And yeah, we got a bit overexcited, I think. We did use an awful lot of plaster, but it's going to look good in the end, hopefully. At this point, they do look pretty naff. They're all glued in place, just no more nails. But this is why modelling compound is the one thing that I rely on now, because you don't have to spend hours on cutting your foam. Rough job, neaten it out later.
So guys, the rock molds are on. We're now onto modelling compound, but before we get onto modelling compound, we've just been playing with the layout ideas of which ways we can put it. Now, what do you think to this one? Pretty cool, eh? And what you can also do is flip the boards round and have like a valley board in the middle. So we could do it like this, and for example, put another 2x4 in the middle, so you've got rocks either side and then a big valley in the middle. Even go as far as just having a big mountain in the middle, how we've been building it, so you've seen that already. So we're just gonna fix it up and make sure that we can get it so it looks nice as it on its own or when it's bumped together. So we're just going to move a couple of rocks, so when you push it together, the 2 table ends together, you get a really nice flow in the rock.
So this is the Luke's APS modelling compound. If you'd like to purchase any of this, do check Geek Gaming below, where you can buy my products from my store. This is a paper plaster mix that's very, very fast drying, so only mix as much as you need. I tend to mix around 1/4 of a bag each time I use it, just so I've got just enough to do the area. We'll do that bit, we'll move on to the next. And as you can see, it turns into a paste pretty quickly. So this is after about 10-15 minutes of applying it down first. You can just smooth it out and get it to a really nice flowing consistency, which creates all your nice landforms and blends all your rocks in. Now, one thing that I also like the compound for as well is the plaster in there is casting plaster, so it's very, very hard. So you can also sculpt it like this to blend your rocks together. So if you've got any massive gaps that you can't fill with any of your rock molds, or you don't want to break any up to try and sort of rough it in and make it fit, all you've got to do is scratch some little details in, pull it around a bit. It is slightly fibrous, so you can't get super, super fine details, but you can get good enough rock textures out of it. Sort of lends itself to it, and as you can see with just a sculpting tool like this, you can pull it about a bit, you can scratch it about and get some really nice textures that follow on across your rocks. So I'll just do this across the whole board. Now, with the size of the board and how much we'd actually done, this took an awfully long time, and we ended up using far more plaster than I thought we would. So yeah, we ended up running out. But this took us probably about 5 hours to do both of the boards, with both of us working on it. Hell of a job, but worth it in the end. So I'll leave you with us just sculpting it all and playing it all with it all, and I'll see you at the next step.
Right, so day 2 of the 1-day build. That's right, guess what we did last night?
Ran out of plaster.
Yeah, we run out of plaster, so that meant we run out of modelling compound, which meant we had to stop work. Well, we didn't, we made some trees, which we'll show you in a sec. But we've been and got some more plaster today. We're going to crack on and hopefully get this done by about 1-2 o'clock. So within 24 hours anyway.
Yeah, close enough to a 1-day build, right?
So, yep, once we picked up as new plaster, just finished off where we'd left off from. Like, that's another good thing about the product, is it dries so quickly. So even though we've had to go out and get some the next morning, slap it on, I wasn't worried about finishing this in the next couple of hours because the very little we had to do. So we got that on. 20 minutes later, we started putting the base brown on of the earth, and then we started painting the rocks. Now, leopard spot technique, quick, dries quick because it's plaster, it's porous, it absorbs the colour. So I'm using ochre, just a cheap craft paint. I'm covering about 2/3 of the entire rock. From that I go to like a creamy brown, like a mocha sort of colour, and this just takes a lot of the white out the rock. I leave some white because it's nice to have some highlights, which we'll get with the other colours later, but that just sort of takes the colour down a notch and takes a bit of the yellow out the ochre. From that, I used the brown that we've used as the earth to simulate dirt on the rocks. It does dry a lot lighter because it soaks in, so don't worry about it being exactly the same colour as the dirt, it doesn't. And then an all over wash of black. Now, if you want them to be a bit darker, just repeat the black process again. But I just love washing rocks like this because they look awesome, especially when they're dry. And as you can see, they've got a very lovely natural look and colour to them. It's the best way to paint rocks in my opinion. It really is. It's very quick, it's easy, and you don't have to mess around at all. If you wanted to add a bit of dry brushing afterwards, you can do, but it's done. Now we're using the Luke's APS Arid Earth Base Ready Mix, which is designed for miniature bases really, but it really does look nice as fallen rocks below all your rock forms. So as you can tell, there's quite a lot of rock faces on this. I mean, we used about 2 tubs I think across the whole board, which isn't too bad. And then we attached all that with super glue. You could attach this with PVA and watered down PVA if you wasn't trying to do it quickly. Ollie wanted to take these home with him, so we used about 100 grams of super glue, fastening them all down. Turn your fire alarms off if you are using that much glue in the house. But yes, it's a very quick way of getting it done, and it gives them a very solid fixing as well. Then we'll go on to the flocking, which is just watered down PVA glue. Brush it on very thickly, and then we get to using the Luke's APS 2-in-1 flock system, which is it's clump foam, as in like coarse foam mixed with like really fine foam. So what you do is you sprinkle it on first to create your scrub, and then with the same colour we sieve over the top of it, and that's how you get that really nice sort of flowing colours and texture from the foam. I really like it because it looks very natural, and you can add as many colours to this as you want. I think I used 4 of the colours in the end. Now with any of the remaining coarser stuff that I have in the sieve after you emptying the flock into the bag, I just put that down. I mean, it looks really coarse there, but you can pat it down once it's got some glue on and it flattens. But I also use a really thick stuff around the rocks to create bushes, and when you spray seal that, it locks it in place. I mean, that's all. This is all using just one colour. Now from that we sprinkle the dark green. I don't sieve dark green, I just sprinkle it and have like dark green scrub, and then we sort of tap that to get rid of the really coarse stuff. And then we use the light green just to blend it all together, and we'll go over everything, but I must use about 1, maybe 2 half handfuls just to go over as a complete cover. And then to seal that in place, I'm just spraying watered down PVA glue and matte varnish mixed together, and that gives that a really hard sort of resin finish. I do actually go back after the first coat of spray, and I sprinkle some more of the base ready arid earth on there. As you can see, it is a very rocky area, so it's nice to have more fallen rocks all mixed in, and it helps blend it all together. I also sprinkled on some yellow autumn flock from my range as well, just to all tie it all together. As you can see, looks pretty nice. I'm very happy with it for a quick build. There's a couple of things that we need to neaten up and tidy up, but for the time we've spent on it and for the purpose that it's serving, it's a great quick board that took us, I'd say, around 15-16 hours in total, which is not bad going for a board that size, which we actually made another flat board and is now got an 8x4, so perfect. Right guys, so I hope you're liking these one-day board builds. I know they are a bit rough edited and rough filmed. The idea is that I am literally just making a board as quick as possible. I mean, this one did take 2 days, but went a little bit over the top when he said, these 2 hills, any chance we can make them a bit bigger? And I went, stuff it, let's make a 4x4 like massive outcrop. And they were like, all right. It's easy to get off at top when you've got 2 people that are actually into what they're doing, but we achieved it in a weekend, which if you've got your mates round and you're building a board for a game system you want to play, then knocking something like that in a weekend is more than achievable. So yeah, if you want to buy any of the products used in this video, check my shop out. All the products I use, I personally make, we have in my shop. Alright guys, so if you want to support me that way, you can do that. If you're liking these one-day board builds, do let me know. I know they're a bit rough edited and they're not very fancy. It's just literally a camera in a corner and sped up and odd vlog every now and again, trying to keep you in track of what we're doing. I know they're not heavily detailed, but if you're liking it, let me know, because Broadsword Wargaming are going to be having quite a lot of boards built. We're going to be doing quite a bit for 40k, so we might be doing some Mars boards, we might be doing some city fighting boards, maybe not one day board building a city fight, but we've got quite a lot we can do. I've got a place to get rid of the boards and everything else, and they're going to get used properly and filmed, so it's nice to build something like that that's going to get used rather than me building it, using it a couple of times and destroying it, which is what normally happens. But yeah, let me know. Alright guys, if you want to support me, again, check my shop, check Amazon affiliates. If you are in America or Canada and you're wanting to buy my SCENICs as well, check my US distributor. They've put another order in now, and they'll have all the newer stuff that we're doing as well, so you can get it over the seas, shall we say. But yeah, I'll catch you again for the next video. Love, love, love.